when you're protected under our roof.
Alright. Hello everyone. Our prize up. I forgot that. There we go. Welcome to today's matchup between Stun Gaming Mythos and Small Brain No Mechanic. The draft will already be underway, and it looks like everyone on both teams should be here to start, so not gonna have to wait. We see our first ban Hover looking for Jarvan. Will be taken out. Small Brain's going to be tasked with a pretty difficult decision here. considering there's a lot of powerful options available in Mythos. Their mid laner has a very well-rounded roster, it seems, and just about every match I've seen, uh, each of their players have been able to perform pretty well. So you may need to make sure whatever composition you're going to be going for at this point will be able to be going into against Mythos. As Lee Sin and Nautilus take bans 2 and 3 for blue side, Xin Zhao takes the second for red, and a Bard Hover for their third, opting for Lux instead. First pick going to Karma, so you can already assume a bit of an aggressive bottom lane from blue. What are we going to see going against it? Because a neutral lane will struggle to a Karma because, you know, the poke is going to be a bit annoying to deal with. But if you can manage an even more aggressive state than her, you can push back. We do see the Yunara and Lulu lock pretty decent for a turn there. However, Lulu with the downside of, you know, Pix's damage being blocked by minions, but the major upside of Polymorph, as well as, you know, Shield and other steroids available for Lulu, especially post 6. Like, if both blue and red, at this point, don't know who the marksman is going to be for blue yet, hit 6 at the same time, and there's the Ezreal. Yeah, Lulu in general can help shift a lot of fights because of how absolutely powerful her ultimate can be. But we are once again seeing Mythos with the Karma Ezreal bot lane, opting for the possible jungle pick here. Unsure just how much of a flex option Nocturne is. Alright, and Small Brain's final pick going for Malphite. We'll see how that ends up for them. I really hope to see a Sylas ban, because otherwise this will be the second time in 3 weeks that we see a Malphite pick with Sylas left open. And there is still likely both mid and top lane picks available for Mythos. And Lulu and Malphite are both very good picks for Sylas to steal ultimates from, and there will be no Sylas ban. So are they going to be taking it for themselves, maybe? Although, contrary to the Sylas option for Gaming Mythos, not a lot of great ults for him to pick up from blue side. Nocturnes does have the paranoia effect, which can work in their favor, but otherwise after that it's just, you know, Ezreal and Karma, nothing really too crazy. And the lock is settled on Aatrox. We'll see how that's responded to. Now, I believe that should be a Malphite jungle. So maybe, assuming Malphite and Sylas don't really interact with each other much, it could bring the value of his pick down, but I don't think that Nocturne will really be struggling all that much. despite, you know, Malphite being an armor tank. There is the Silas lock as expected, as well as Scion. So that will be some strong cross-map pressure with Nocturne able to intervene quickly. And Vex for the final pick. Just given that Silas lots of options. Alright, and that will be the end of the draft. It's like the... Oh, there are 6 right now in blue. Alright, it was briefly going to be a 6v4, but I guess things fixed themselves out. Alright, looks like the actual draft should be starting here momentarily. Alright, so, composition matchup. Already, you know, the Malphite and Silas being polar to each other does grant a lot of power onto the Silas. Bot lane being Karma Ezreal into Yunara Lulu. I'm not sure exactly how the natural skew of the matchup is weighed. So. Alright, so yeah, I'm not sure how the Yunara Lulu Ezreal Karma matchup is generally supposed to be matched up, but you know, Yunara is really good at extended fights. Picks can give a bit of breathing room in any extended engagements, or I mean polymorph. uh, but yeah, the polymorph should help ease the extended engagements in. Uh, Also, if any abilities can be avoided prior to Ezreal going in, uh, the polymorph could extend the downtime on his passive, leading him to break it, possibly shifting the fight further into Yunara's favor. Uh, Karma, however, if you if you overcommit in a fight onto the Ezreal and Karma, it might leave you overextended for that lockdown, possible Nocturne follow-up, thanks to Karma's root. and you know, from right angles could be difficult to get away from that. Especially considering how strong Nocturne is early on, and if he can get a good in before his ultimate is available, which, you know, you would rather wait for his ultimate, but any free plays that come before then only make his level 6 spike all that scarier for whoever he gets the dive on later on. Oh. I'm not sure. So there's attempts to figure out who... Oh wait. Alright, so it's gonna be Silas Vex mid. Vex ultimate pretty alright for Silas to grab. Does let him roam a lot easier. Or just, you know, match her roam. While, again, it's Malphite, Nocturne, Jungle, Aatrox, Scion. Aatrox does outscale Scion, because he's kind of a flesh sack to him, free heals and all that good stuff. Malphite, possible setup, could come out of the woodwork, if you will, to take out Silas alongside Vex if things go right, but Mythos' mid laner has been pretty solid, so we'll see how any of those particular engagements actually go through. Alright, as we are underway. But yeah, I am unsure of how the Malphite Nocturne is going to work out. I think the mid lane is relatively even, but if played right, could skew for red. Just, you know, neutral champion level. And top side should be skewed for the Aatrox, but we'll see. Vex moving in from behind. Silas is in the bush, going to take some hurt. There's the auto, and then attempt for a passive proc. Electrocute triggered, getting a couple more autos off. Silas does not have Doran's shield, so until he gets access to his Kingslayer... Ooh, already flash, ignite, and the kill! 1-0, first minute Vex. As quick teleport coming in from the Silas. Vex is around half health. Might make her vulnerable to a level 2 or 3 all in from the Silas. As Small Brain's bot lane is taking a bit of hurt from that Karma poke. Ezreal will be pushing up here briefly as well. Right, Q miss. And there's Vex's recall coming out. Ignite 1/4 off of cooldown. Silas looking to shove. No. Some good trading from the Aatrox. You gotta manhandle the Scions somehow. Get those Conqueror stacks up. Makes them harder to survive trades. Abduct missing. The poke from Karma getting a bit relentless.
Don't even think about it.
Sun getting a bit low, but the Doran shield's gonna help him heal quite a bit there. Yeah. 81 health per second when the Doran shield effective's triggered. And we see Nocturne going for the Scuttle Crab. Doesn't look like it's going to be contested. Malphite's going topside as he wants to avoid that engagement. Ooh, nice. Followed through. There's the Abduct onto the Vex. Once again, shield comes up, blocks some of the shockwave damage. One more auto will take out Sylas a second time. Very well done. But we do see Nocturne coming around mid. Not a good spot for Vex to attempt to reset. Right, spell shield blocking one. Alright, gonna back that up, see how it happened. My bad. That went really far. Alright, got caught. Okay, so it was just the one-on-one. Nocturne will spot out the Vex inside of the bush, but decides to ignore it, take his jungle camp instead. Decides taking that as an opportunity to push. Minion wave will crash. And Malphite inside the Nocturne's jungle. Smite is on cooldown, so he can't secure the Gromp, unfortunately for him. Effectively just leashing that camp. Vex with a Dark Seal to amplifying tones. Looked like she wanted to bait a reaction. Alright, here's some more trading right here. Root was not completed. Do note, the large reason a lot of Sylas players will cast their Abduct away from their enemy is so that it can actually go on cooldown, because the cooldown does not begin until Abduct is cast. Unfortunate positioning will not pull the Scion in. We'll get out safely. But the situation in mid is getting a bit dire for the Sylas. If he gets enough burst damage output or steals Scion Malphite's ultimate, he might be able to do something here, but the trades so far have not been healthy for him. The more AP the Vex has, the more she'll be able to block with her shield, so as time goes on, it's actually going to get much more difficult for him. Like, not just because of, you know, the free damage that Vex gets for her passive helping out quite a bit, but it's the fact that she can deny a lot of Sylas's burst, which is so important in his trading patterns. Alright, and it looks like Mythos will be going for this first dragon here, and I forgot to put the thing up. Dragon is secured. Malphite will be working his way into Nocturne's jungle once again. There are suspicions that he is on the blue buff. Harm is moving to intercept, going fast. She does get there. I think that Malphite will still be able to escape. Was not able to steal the blue buff. Smite once again was on cooldown. Kind of feel like Malphite might have better luck going to steal like Raptor and Krugs than single camp creatures. Nice shielding from Lulu. And a near kill once again for the Aatrox as Sion is forced to back off. He does have his ultimate available, so death wouldn't really mean all that much. No ganks thus far from Malphite this game. Doesn't want to show himself in the mid lane. Alright, Sylas going hard. Nocturne hovering. Ultimate connected to the Vex. Out comes the knockup. Vex lives so far, but will be caught by Nocturne's Q. Alright, 3 kills for the Vex, but her death spells the end of her Darksteel stacking. 1 assist for the Sylas. And 1,000 gold difference in that mid lane. Yudara is struggling to CS here. We see almost a 40 CS gap. Pretty significant. Malphite getting pushed off of his minions and off of Nocturne's jungle camps plays a big part into the CS gap there. Alright, Nocturne positioning for movement in the bot, but will be seen on the ward, backs off. Goes towards mid instead. Gets spotted himself. Q misses. Sylas does have his Hextech alternator, however. Right, Karma's split off from the Ezreal. Ooh, Sion ulting the Aatrox under the tower. Does not actually get any tower hits to connect, however. Aatrox ultimate is up. No heal procs. Nocturne trying to come over. Paranoia is still on cooldown, however. Malphite spotted out. Sion baiting aggression from Aatrox. Out comes the flash. His own flash is up. Aatrox will get to safety. Out comes the recall in a bit once it cleans up these minions. And his teleport is ready. Lulu alone under the tower. Honestly, could be a possible dive attempt, but her ultimate is ready, so you wouldn't want to try that there. But you know, theoretically, if Lulu's ultimate wasn't up, that would be a sure kill with Karma. Malphite going for Zeke's Convergence. No ultimate angle. Alright, Paranoia is back off cooldown. Unstoppable Force as well. Yunara Lulu ultimates, I don't believe have been used yet. Yunara taking a lot of hurt. About 300 damage from the minions alone. Not what you want to take here as the Ezreal ult comes out, knocks her down to 300. As that will force Yunara's back, making this a 3v4 dragon attempt. Alright, there's the minions crashing into the tower. Might secure the first tower kill, as all four are focusing onto this Chemtech Dragon. Yunara will not be here in time to help contest. Nice ultimate from Malphite landing on two. Silas hitting Vex, as Vex going into the Silas. Double fear from the Vex W. Silas wandering away, needs a bit of assistance. Will take out the Vex. But Chemtech Dragon is at the very least secured by the Yunara. But at what sacrifice? Outer bottom turret is dead. Silas got himself a kill to assist. As kill, Karma kill. And Yunara will be forced back to die herself. Out comes the flash auto Q from Ezreal. Secure. As we swap back to the trades off the top side, take a peek at mid to see the tower health, and back. Aatrox getting very low. There's the knock-up. A big heal. Aiming for that Q3 hit, successful. Malphite swinging along. Will make it very difficult for San to escape at this point, as soon as a Q hits. Nocturne trying to come over for assistance, however. Shield comes up. That is 4v2 at the moment. Going to have to back off. Malphite flashes away. Aatrox finally going down. Malphite getting chased around by the Karma. As Silas will be hounded by Vex. A lot of picks procs as well. Are free farming bottom side at this point. Nice rotation on Mythos to send their bot lane top side, which, you know, only makes sense once you take out the bottom tower. Unfortunate that that was not expected by small brains. Lulu making an observation whether or not she could be seen, as we see 3 members from Small Brains attacking the towers right here. And I couldn't get to Yunara. It's so much harder to swap to carries. But let's back up. See what transpired. Alright, so Yunara overextended a bit. Got caught out by Sion. Didn't have his ultimate available, so I think she got a bit overzealous. Doesn't have any healing available. Lots of armor items onto Sion, so she wouldn't really be doing much to him to begin with. Which led to his death. Being that far behind in gold is very unfortunate for her. Not having Lulu available with her as well does dampen her ability to take on the Sion as well. Since, you know, at the very least, it would provide her with a healthy mix of physical and magical damage. Kraken Slayer first item, finally secured. Ezreal halfway to his second with Manamune. And those Qs doing damage. Vex ultimate coming out will stop short of everything and wide. Malphite ultimate, Zeke's convergence onto the Karma will flash out. Slow not going to be enough to enable a follow. Karma is generally a pretty difficult target to burst down like that. As ult onto the minion wave. As it looks like the Rift Herald will be going to stun gaming Mythos. Manamune is secured with only a couple more stacks until Manamura. And there we go. Massive power spike just now reached. Mid laners and top laners swapping opponents. Aatrox doesn't have any magic resistance available to him. At the very least, Vex should be able to keep up with a degree of Scion's clear for now. Next dragon up in 20 seconds. No resets happening. Yunara is very low, however, and 1 level behind Ezreal. Taking a reset now. So she will be late to the dragon. Here comes the teleport from the Aatrox. Mid lane tower almost gone, however. No one's there to defend it. Other than Malphite, but... Ooh, Vex ultimate lands. Fear only connects with 1 target. Malphite ult onto 2. Lulu for the follow-up. Vex first to die. Sylas getting low, but he should make it out. That was a flash to get to safety from Yunara. A lot of aggression, a lot of really low health bars from Mythos. Malphite finally going down. Aatrox trying to do what he can, but he will get caught up in the CC as Lulu will be the last to fall. That is a 0 for 5 ace. Nocturne heading for the Ocean Drake. As Scion continues pushing down this middle wave. And this game just got insurmountably difficult for Small Brain. Right. Third Drake of the game will be Ocean. At the very least, a soul will be delayed thanks to the Chemtech Dragon earlier. That is a lot of bounties as well on the heads of Mythos champions. We'll see how long they last, however. Another peek at the gold differentials. Mid lane's gap seems about the same. Top lane heavily in favor of Scion. Jungle, as expected, Nocturne notably ahead. And bottom lane, that is a massive gap between them for the gold. Ooh, Vex going in hard onto the Karma yet again. Malphite following, keeping her slow. Vex ultimate landing again. Malphite taking the tower. Shut down, going to the Vex. Nocturne ulting in, will take out the Yunara. Follow up for the Vex again. Not going to be enough for the finisher. Sylas going hard onto the Malphite, knocking him to 200. Lulu ultimate primed and ready. But the fear will prevent Sylas engaging any further. That was a great couple of bounty secures there at the very least. Honestly, I can't say that play from Small Brains was, like, you know, bad at all, really. Both those kills went to, or no, only one of those kills went to Vex, actually. Not sure who the other one went to. Alright, Yunara, as tower dive from Sylas onto the Lulu. But yeah, Yunara and Vex getting the gold there, really good for Small Brains. Bounties building up for more priority targets. 450 onto Scion. But he is building a lot of magic resistance right now, so it's going to be very difficult for Vex to do much to him. As here comes the Herald crash success. And expect the camera to snap again if the Herald does charge once more. Next dragon up in 2 minutes, just over. The gold gap is a bit not as wide as it was a bit ago, thanks to the bounties. Once again, Vex has 2 finished items. Yunara also 2 finished items. Yes. Ezreal finished his 3rd. Silas working on his third. And Aatrox is not putting a single dent into Scion. I'm wondering if it's because the Sundered Spear first item might not have been the call here, as he does not have the clear speed that I think he would like. Would it usually be a Stride Breaker that you'd probably get first item Aatrox? I don't know the matchup. Yeah, this is feeling really rough for him. Alright, Malphite all catching two once again. Vex following up. 2 down, Nocturne Karma. Ezreal running away will avoid the Vex ultimate, which did go a bit wide. Yunara able to heal a tad, as this mid lane tower looking in a pretty dangerous spot, but Silas hovering there will make it a bit dangerous to continue that push, since I'm fairly certain that his cooldown on Malphite ultimate has run its course. Lulu getting some deep vision before this dragon is up and ready. Here comes the recall, 30 seconds on the timer. See how the vision is going to be responded to here. Alright, Karma just heading straight to lane. That is one trinket charge popped. Will be on cooldown. Sweeper's Lens only available on Nocturne at this point, who will not trigger it. Is spotted moving towards the dragon. As Scion is alone in mid lane right now. Looks like the dragon will go down uncontested, since Nocturne is nearby. There is the Scion ultimate. Ezreal ult putting some major hurt onto Yunara, and Scion just opting to go to top lane. Showing right here that, you know, the 3 or 4 of them that were interacting with him can't really do much right now. How are we going to see any shredding start take place? Alright, Malphite caught out. Ults away to safety, hits the blast cone, gets even further. But with ultimate on cooldown, he's fairly useless. Vexall coming out will land onto Karma. Will not be able to finish off the kill. Silas taking her ultimate, putting a lot of people in trouble there. Vex, Zanya's coming up, will sidestep the Ezreal Q. Barely manages to survive. Honestly, I thought she died, but it was just the Lulu earlier. Unfortunate. Right. Will have to get his Zanya's as soon as it's available, however. Right. Sells the Dorans, gets the needle. Otherwise, she'd be sitting on, like, you know, 12k gold. That is another tower taken down, this time middle inner. One outside of base turret left available. 4 small brains, 16, 10, 5k gold difference. The gap is still getting a bit smaller. We see only Scion has a bounty remaining on him at the moment. Yunara Grievous Wounds are available. Spear of Shojin acquired by Aatrox. Yunara heading in top lane. You're not going to be able to do anything here. Fairly certain. I would be quite surprised. Yeah, Yunara slowed down, will get hit by the knockup. Nocturne coming in, lands 2 for the knockup, but Silas going in for the kill. Going him ham onto the Lulu, turning to the Vex, who will go down as well. Aatrox trying to survive. Lulu getting quite low. Silas trying to stick to her. Should be able to get her killed as Aatrox goes down to those 4 finally. Kingslayer taking out the Yordle. As Mythos will go for the Baron here and put themselves into a position for a closing move. Malphite is still alive, but ultimate is not ready.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Just going to speed it up a bit here, just so that live isn't too far ahead, because I did back up a couple of times during this. Alright, as we see Mythos going in for this Baron power play, what have you. 1 minute left on Dragon. Nocturne ultimate spotting the Lulu. Blast Cone triggered. Fear will prevent her movement all the much more. Getting triple taken out with Nocturne and Silas together. Vex ultimate stolen. Abduct catching the Vex. Zanya's triggering, but she will go down. That is 2 taken out for the defense. No minions available, however, at the moment, so it's going to slow down the tempo. Ooh, a third of Yunara's health chunked with that Ezreal ult. As Sion will be able to get a couple of bonks onto that mid lane turret. Dragon will go down shortly, securing the Ocean Soul. And with how unkillable this Sion has been up till now, you see those numbers ticking. Vex ult coming out. Silas disrupting her. Alright, there's the Nocturne homing in onto the Yunara, but those shields are massive. Vex taken out, however. And it looks like Yunara is going to go down next. Aatrox getting pretty low himself, as well as Lulu's. Malphite just walks away, unable to assist. Ultimate is gone. Nothing else he can do. As this should be game 1 for Stun Gaming Mythos. Right, 30 minutes in. Swell fight put up by Small Brains. But unfortunately, Aatrox was not able to contain the Scion. And it appears that Small Brain No Mechanics will be on red side once again this time around. As we wait for the next draft to begin. Alright, and the drafting has begun. With Lee Sin taking the first ban. Corky taking the first red. Jarvan, B2. Ban. Honestly, that game 1, the Vex performed pretty darn well into the Sylas. I assume that's the reason as to why they didn't ban him. They felt that they'd be able to, like, bait the Sylas pick and then counter with the Vex. But, again, unfortunately, just Malphite later on loses so much value. If he can't be like a super mega massive what the heck kind of tank that is hard to be around, just kind of melted once his ult is used up, can't really do much past that. Especially when, you know, he's on a jungle economy and there weren't many ganking opportunities. We'll see who that second ban was. Xin Zhao. Ban 2, red was Xin Zhao. Alright. And the first pick is Jinx. You can expect either a strong front to back or a sort of pick and snowball set up with her. There's the Kai'Sa follow-up. I want to say if you're playing Kai'Sa into Jinx that you would want to run her AP rather than on hit. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that Jinx would beat Kai'Sa in a face-to-face engagement. And if that is the case, then we'll see if Mythos will adjust their picks to adapt. They opt for the Rel into the Nautilus. No matter how bad of a state Rel is in, she can still be okay into Nautilus, even if her win rate against him moves from like 62% down to 51%. Still technically a counter. And Ahri being the B3 pick. Lissandra R3 as we go into the next ban phase. I'll be right back as I will be refilling my water. Alright, and I am back. Yeah, Lissandra and Ahri is alright. Downside is that Lissandra does stand still when casting a lot of her spells. You can lock down Ahri if she does get too close, however, but it leaves yourself susceptible to the charm and Q follow-up as well, so it's like a mixed bag, but if there's any form of support, and you know, you do have the Kaisa, so if there is ever an opportunity to lean or whatever follow-up, it is kind of a guaranteed entry. The thing is, in this current matchup, it's there's nothing that like inhibits Rel from doing anything aggressive unless they get like a really big advantage, but even then, like Nautilus is the only actual threat to doing anything. Rel Crashdown is always going to be strong into Zed. Can always interrupt Lissandra if she goes into Zanya's or self-ults. Does have access to shield break into Kaisa, and Crashdown being ready does make it a bit difficult for Kaisa to opt to go in. Just because she could get caught up in it. You know, if Kaisa does go AP, then that massive shield won't really amount to much after that point. Cassante can eject her as well from any situation, really. However, there isn't, like, any follow-up stuff. Like, there's nothing to go really all in with, ironically, on the composition that I'm seeing from Gaming Mythos, so it is more of a front-to-back kind of thing. Rel is just going to be there to capitalize off of mistakes. There will be avenue to, like, make a sort of engaged thing go happen, but again, because the only reason that would be the case is there's not really anything to deny such a thing from happening. Like, Urgot could go for a flip, but if Rel's already landed, the flip would get interrupted. But yeah, I think that we're mostly just going to see kind of a front-to-back snowball attempt rather than a go deep, go heavy kind of setup from Mythos. And Small Brains, there's a lot of pick power. Not there is potential like tower dive opportunities available to them as well, but considering their targets for such things are like, you know, Ahri and Cassante, would be a bit difficult to pull such a thing off. If Zed were to, or wait, that's Zed jungle. Okay, I think. Yeah, that's Zed jungle. So there are possible gank opportunities and tower dive opportunities that could present themselves in the bottom lane. However, thing to note, Lissandra, W and Alt do not inhibit Rel's crashdown mobility. So if they were to move bot lane, do something, your options are really just burst them down as fast as you can and let the little ghosty thing from the first person you kill inhibit the second person. That thing does a lot. But otherwise, we're going to need to see some good coordination from Small Brains to get these picks that should be able to help them get well into the mid late game if they happen. But Mythos has been performing well every game that I've seen them. And unsure whether we'll see those avenues, but we'll be heading to the game here briefly. Alright, and we are underway.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Minions have spawned.
Here's level 1 trading. Barrier coming up from Kaisa and from Jinx both. Here's the flip. That's that level 1 tango. I see overall would have gone the double. A level 1 trade up and top side as well. I think Cassante might regret that. We'll see. Alright, so being, you know, the person that knows Rel, Aftershock is generally the most widely used rune on her. Ever since her mid-scope, Glacial lost a lot of its power. It's honestly functionally useless compared to how it was before. But her, like, far superior rune option in most ideal circumstances is Spellbook. You've not had a silly time if you haven't swapped to Ghost to run down an enemy marksman that felt it was fine to overextend because their allies were busy topside going for grubs. The defensive runes opted for... Ahri going trade onto Lissandra, overextending. Flash is available on Lissandra. Decides not to go for it. But she might actually have to recall here, because if she lingers too long, I feel that Ahri's just going to have basically a free kill. She doesn't have Ignite, so it would kind of have to rely on the Electrocute. But yeah, Lissandra needing to keep that distance will make it difficult. But yeah, Rel going with Shield Bash gives her a bit of extra resistances whenever she's dismounted. Very slight, but it's something. Ooh, fight between the Zed and Mundo. That's quite a bit of chunking going on, but his Shadow being on cooldown makes it so he can't really fight this, especially with Ahri rotating down. So he will lose that scuttle, will lose the second scuttle as well. As Lissandra's not going to be able to get prio here. There's the flip. Quite a bit of damage being piled onto the Urgot. Looks like he will go down. Flash from the Cassante Q and follow up for the kill. There is the Q flash into the crash down. Couple of pokes coming out, getting some passive stacks. There's the flip. Ignite's active. Nautilus and Rel both going down. Jinx trying to finish off Kaisa, but the barrier comes up from both marksmen once again, leaving each other at a relatively neutral health state, but Kaisa being notably lower. Will result in Kaisa losing a lot of CS, however. I guess Nautilus will pick up a bit of it. Here comes the Lissandra for an aggressive play. No level 6 available yet, however, so there will not be a kill. No flashes used. Also, Lissandra's mana is very low at the moment. Zed getting caught out. Lose a bit of health. Charm missing. Out comes Flash ultimate. There's the root. One more auto for the finisher. First kill in the mid lane once again, going to Zema. 2 games in a row. Much closer this time than previous, though. Nice buffer from the Urgot. Ah, there's the all-out from Cassante. That damage is going to be heavy. All that health lost is irrelevant to him at this point. Alright, Zed coming in from behind. Not seen, other than, you know, already leaning towards the river earlier. Jinx is alone under tower. Zed is not level 6 yet. So honestly, it's not that big of a dive threat. No Lissandra ultimate ready just yet. Getting some auto attacks to try and proc electrocute. Only managing to get the 2, however. Zed is now going for Dragon. Is on vision. Is getting dangerously low. As Ahri will lean. Is going to be spotted out going to the Dragon. Zed leaving the pit. Ahri flashing over. And Zed will get away to safety, but his allies are coming over to secure that health drop from the Dragon. Ahri does have her ultimate available. Nautilus putting himself into a position to intercept her. There's a Super Mega Death Rocket. Will not be able to make the steal. Out comes Zap, hits the Nautilus. Kaisa and Zed both low. Zed does have access to his ultimate right now, however, so it might be an overextension. However, he does only have 2 long swords, so his damage is not quite up there yet. Still needs some lethality first. Nautilus still sitting in the bush. Out comes the root. Hook. Chain CC. Another root. Q for the kill. Lissandra's truly the queen of killing them through immobility. Nice root. Alright, Zed coming over, looking for something. Rel just mounted up. Going to be a while before... Oh, wait. I thought she just mounted up. Or wasn't paying attention. Alright, Cassante getting yet another kill onto the Urgot. Remember, if you are running a physical damage top laner and jungler, that provides all the more incentive for your opponent to stack as much armor as they possibly can, because you will do no damage and your jungler will do no damage. You would have to rely on your AP mid laner to come to your lane to be able to damage your opponent. And because Lissandra is not a great Liandry's utilizing champion, there is only so much assistance she can provide. And, you know, Cassante has a lot of sustain. Which honestly still bugs me. Why does Cassante have sustain? He doesn't really treat like that. He has a shield. That's good enough. Alright, there is the crash down. A lot of damage put onto the Kaisa. Zed trying to come over. There's a shadow. Not really going to get all that much from it. Puts himself in harm's way. Will go down. Doesn't look like Nautilus will get out, as he will die to a rocket. Alright, Ahri trying to escape. There's the flash ultimate once again from Lissandra. W to finish her off. 3-0. That brings us to 3 3-0s in this match. Mundo catching out Zed on the... Ooh, that damage. It's devastating. Zed trying to get away. Alright, Cleaver misses, at the very least. But will we see a tower dive here? Urgot's putting himself into a position where he can be carried over the wall. Please be careful, Urgot. You do not want to get all outed into the river. Also, these are the moments where, as Lissandra, into a Rel, you have a bit of a lead. You kind of want to shove these lanes and then do something down to the bot side. Because Rel, or when people use Rel, they become pretty naturally aggressive. So if you can force them to make an engage attempt a really bad time, you can capitalize off on it pretty easily and turn it around. Nautilus Hook catching the Rel, but she should be able to get out to safety. Decides to go in instead, lands, crash down on 2, and then stun on 2 others. Kaisa will go down, teleport coming out from Urgot, but he is a bit isolated at this point. Ahri taking out Zed. Urgot going down. Lissandra's still alive, but as you can see, she can't really hurt the Cassante. Neither can the tower. Right, there's the ultimate. All Out is not put on cooldown from it. It's a lot of damage from the tower, but Nautilus getting the bounty is so unfortunate. Mundo coming to assist. We'll get locked down. Kill goes to Zed. Very unfortunate the Cassante bounty went to Nautilus, but maybe they could turn it around. We'll see. A lot of minions stacked up on the tower. You kind of want to get those over uncertain gold, I feel. First tower goes down. Urgot's still going to be struggling. Looks like he's going Black Cleaver first. Maybe Titanic Hydra second, but we'll see. Kind of a nightmare situation for him here.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Lissandra's doing just fine, however, at the very least. Nautilus going to be prevented from escaping this point. Kaisa trying to turn any degree, but not going to come of that. Lissandra coming over will ult the Jinx, but the damage is just too heavy. As the teleport got there late and she wasn't able to have any assistance from her allies. Urgot getting pulled back by the Cassante. Zed's going to have to back off himself. And that Jinx is sitting on a 700 gold bounty here at 15 minutes, 15 kills. Next dragon up in 2.5 minutes. And Rift Herald in the bag for Mythos, 2 games in a row. Alright, thus far, Lissandra's the only one that's not really struggling. But, ooh, that burst damage from Ahri is dangerous. Will decide to chase here. Lissandra ultimate coming out. Will scare Ahri away. Her charm will be back up here shortly, however. Does get the hit as the Nautilus hook comes out, but not faster than the Lissandra Q. Nicking at max range for the kill. But towers are a die-in here. Alright, there's the Rift Herald. We will see the base tower get cracked. Here comes the charge. Ooh, deciding to go for bottom lane instead. All the grubs will provide ample opportunity to continue that crazy push of his. As Cassante's inside of the base being quite the diversion. Alright, Lissandra ultimate hitting 3, Jinx down, here come the Wraiths. Ahri taking a blast. Zed getting a kill onto Cassante. Ahri ultimate is available, so she is relatively safe at this point. Lissandra's dead, so not a massive amount of threat. However, a single charm hit will make it difficult. Zed flashing forward to his death. Alright, that is 3 alt charges prime for Ahri. Dash 1. There's the stun. Charm coming out. Some resistances from Aftershock blocking a bit of the damage output. Alright, one more ultimate charge at the ready, but it is gone and timed out. Gold trade, 408 to each Urgot and Ahri. Super Mega Death Rocket nearly killing Nautilus. And Jinx has 3 items right now. This is a very hard game for small brains. Got the pings coming out. Looks like they're trying to go for a back-end play. Lissandra will be spotted right now, however. Deciding to commit. There's a W. Ultimate onto Jinx. Health going low. Barrier comes out. Lissandra will die. Zed ult finishing off the Jinx. Dies himself to the Ahri as Ahri chases down for the Kaisa. Will shift her focus to the Nautilus, trying to escape. And rounds it back for the Urgot. That will be a quadra kill for Ahri.
Blue team has scored an ace.
And this could be the end of the match. Jinx is dead, however, will slow down the speed at which they can kill the towers. Lissandra back up in 5. Okay, it's 3 up in a bit, so I think we can expect to back off here. I don't expect to pull the middle just yet. You know, if Lissandra had 3 more levels on her, that fight could have gone different. Wink, wink. Not that she could have had those 3 extra levels. There's no one near that point yet. Very dangerous spot for Lissandra to be right now. While she had the lead over Ahri for most of the match, having access to the Seeker's Arm Guard is not going to be enough to help her survive much of these trades against the Ahri, considering Ahri does have 3 items. And her charm can be matched with the Zanya's end timer. Alright, Rel getting caught out. Will stun too. Out comes her ultimate. As she gets pulled in for the fear, will only affect one target. Urgot getting ridiculously low. Kill go to Ahri. Ahri taken out by Zed. Out comes the all-out from Cassante. Zed down. Cassante down. Lissandra Zanya's triggered. Jinx is very healthy. Nautilus hook catches. Finished by the Kai'Sa. Double kill. Mundo, the only survivor of Mythos right now. We are seeing some brawly fights here. Very much disorganized. But if that's what Small Brain needs to catch up, feel free. And it looks like Kai'Sa's going for an on-hit build. And she is the prime target for Chase. Lissandra coming over. Probably going to try and catch the Ahri off. Out comes the flash. No ultimate, however. There's the Zanya's. Ult is on cooldown. Alright, and now it is ready. Nautilus dies. Lissandra will be taken out. Was that a death rocket? Hold up. It was. And yeah, Kai'Sa went down as well. This should spell the end of the game. Here is the tower dive, movement restriction, and the ace. Zed is up, but not going to be able to do anything here. Ahri is very much a hard counter to Zed. That's the ultimate, bunch of knockups. Kai'Sa dead, Zed dead. Jinx died at least, so maybe the Phantom will do something. No, just a bit of a tickle on Rel. And the final blow. Game 2, Stun Gaming Mythos. Alright, that will be their 2-0 victory. Here are the damage charts for everyone to look at. Honestly, a lot less numbers than you would expect, considering there was a Mundo in the game. Usually when that happens, you see like 50,000 damage. But I guess since Lissandra's not super prone to massively overkilling things, or nor does she have like health scaling modifiers in her kit, that you don't really see much more than this. So, but yeah, the second game was pretty interesting to see. There were avenues that could come back. It's, well, mostly kind of wholly reliant on Lissandra for those avenues of comeback. Because Urgot was struggling at topside. Kai'Sa started off relatively fine, but then things got kind of hard carried away. Again, part of it is because the Rel Nautilus matchup, even though the gap got smaller since post-mid scope, it is still kind of there. Like, there are things you can do as Rel that just stop Nautilus from doing a lot of things that he wants to do. Most obvious of which is denying any of his shields, because then he loses a lot of that damage output. Then, you know, if Nautilus does anything to you when you're Rel, you could just do everything to Kai'Sa afterwards, because usually that's after she uses all of her let's be hyper aggressive and move in stuff. Just kind of punish turnaround at that point. Jinx was massively ahead, couldn't really do much at that point. You could see the shredding, a lot of the picks. Yeah. Like there were some moments that you know, you had some good alts, but those are just crazy disarray stuff, and like that level 1 play, Old Rel would have gotten a kill there. But like you see the pokes that are going on, like they're coming out fast, but you're hitting them for like 18 damage at level 1 pokes, and it's like that's nothing. You might be jabbing them faster, but Nautilus's first hit does more than 2 of yours. So the trade moments were funny, and it's really depressing to see Nautilus and Rel on a relatively neutral power level when it's always been Rel being astronomically stronger, but we'll never have those days again. uh As Captain Sparkles once said, she was sent off to the glue factory. But yeah, sorry for the tangent. Uh, Unfortunately, Zed isn't a great pick into Ahri. Anytime that she has Charm up, he just can't do anything, otherwise he gets Charmed and will generally die. There was that moment in the bot lane where they did manage to eke a kill out of it, but he did almost die from it too. Jinx can also kind of do the same thing. And considering it's Jinx and Rel together, Zed alting onto Jinx is kind of like he can do the triple up damage, but he will be rooted, he will die afterwards in the vast majority of situations. Hey, kill participation's easy on Rel. You press E, you get kill participation. Doesn't matter if it does anything. It's just like, hey, your Karthus is alting. You want some free assist gold? Go to him, press E, you will get like 300 free gold that doesn't get split between your teammates. Have fun with that. Uh, but yeah, good 2 games. We'll be calling the stream here. Thanks all who participated. And there will be another match at 9:30. Uh, Unsure if who will be casting it yet, but we'll see when the time comes. All right. With that, you'll have a great remainder of your day, and good evening. Bye.